because I still got it muted. What is up, you guys? What's up, Dustin? Thank you, Tim, for coming in with the reminder. You know, it's funny because I'm like 90% sure that I hit the unmute button. Like I was looking at it and I hit it. Like at least I thought I did. But what is up, you guys? Yo, welcome to another episode of the Cannabis. I hope you guys are having a fantastic Monday, and if you're not having a great Monday, then you're about to, cause we're getting ready to sesh. Um, yeah, lots of good stuff going on for today's episode. Some really good stories. Also coming off of a really awesome weekend. Had an amazing sesh at Mount Zion Seed Co-op on Sunday. Had a bit of like some old school gaming. Did some Super Smash Brothers and just a total smoke out. Really really nice. Shout out to Wilson who made it through. Like kind of caught us like as he was coming back from North Carolina. So very awesome. Yeah, so like just if some of you guys don't know, Mount Zion does like a breeder grower cannabis enthusiast meet and greet, like once sometimes twice a month, and you know. Yeah, we like to keep it pretty casual. This time it was just like smoking and talking cannabis, and while we're gaming, had some Halo going on too. Really awesome time. I'm gonna take a little nib of one of these cookies. Oh. Yes, gluten free is good now. Man, used to all taste like cardboard. But as I said, right, today we are going to take a deep dive into the verdant world of cannabis. Today's episode, we're sailing across the intriguing interplay between cannabis and health, as as we typically do, we're going to be debunking some more cannabis myths. We're going to be revealing some scientific findings and exploring how our favorite plant impacts our lives beyond the buzz. So, guys, right, tune in, lock in, pack your bowls, let's light up if you are so inclined. But yes, we are definitely going to get enlightened. Um, um, Now, today, for today's episode, we're going to be reviewing some Columbiana by Seeds of Kismet. It's kind of funny. This is the cultivar that had actually, like, much to my own chagrin, kind of fell between the cracks a little bit. And I was actually supposed to be getting a new cultivar to check out from. Hold on, I think I hear a sound. Yeah, sorry to pause you guys like that. Hey, what up, Rob? No, I just heard like a loud sound from outside of my studio. I'm not 100% sure what it was. It is probably nothing. I will allow my partner to attend to that stuff. So let's. No. I hear what appears to be knocking, but it doesn't sound like it's at my door though. Oh boy, this is super embarrassing. Hold on one second. Sam, are you here? Wow. I apologize, guys. I like I need to go check this out. It sounds like someone might be knocking at my door. Um, at like 8:30 at night. So I'm gonna go just check this out. Just one second. Um, I appreciate everyone's patience. I will be gone. I promise no longer than like a minute or two. So yes, I will be right back. Okay. Okay. Bringing the volume back down to a reasonable level. You guys can hear me, right? Okay. I'd say I literally have no idea what that was. I swear I'm not like. Yeah, but I just went outside and checked, and there's no one out there. Oh, okay. I think what it is I think my upstairs neighbor decided that at 8:30 at night they're going to start hammering on a wall or something. So whatever it is, um, we're gonna try and keep it moving here, and I'm just gonna bump up my own internal volume. That way, I don't have to worry about the sound distracting me. So, yes, it's kind of funny enough for this cultivar that we got here today. I picked the Columbiana because um, after going through all of my favorite cultivars for last year and then not having that new cultivar come across, like I was in this weird position where I haven't really had any, don't really had any have any cultivars to review. So I'm like going through all of my collection and I come across like this Columbiana that was just like hiding next to another jar. I feel like I might have had this like maybe like 6 months or so. So like it may have a little age on it. There's some things I need to take into consideration for myself because while it's stored in the really nice like collapsed style jar that keeps it well sealed, and it was in a dark place. It's still like I'm sure that there were still instances where light was getting through and hitting it. So we'll have to like we'll have to be kind to it in our assessment. Um, but yes, we'll get to that in just a second though. Kicking off today's episode, as we're gonna delve deep into the roots of the infamous gateway drug theory. Okay. Now, this concept has loomed large in public consciousness, propelled by early drug education programs like DARE, which painted cannabis as this first step on a slippery slope leading to harder drug use. But what does the science actually say? Now, recent studies are turning these old assumptions completely on their heads. Now, a massive research project analyzing adolescent brain scans before and after their first encounters with substances like alcohol, nicotine, or cannabis is reshaping our understanding completely. Now, researchers have discovered that the difference in brain structures associated with these substances use, they were present before any substances were used. Okay? Now, this suggests that certain neurological predispositions might make some individuals more likely to engage with various substances rather than one substance kind of pushing them onto another, which for most of us who have kept it with cannabis and haven't really jumped out to any of these wild hard substances, that feels like pretty common sense to a lot of us. But once again, this is information. All of this old propaganda is being propagated to people who have never really had any meaningful contact with cannabis, right? But moreover, this study, this challenges the simplicity of the gateway drug narrative by suggesting that these predispositions are not specific to cannabis, but are linked to a general propensity towards substance use. Okay, now this it introduces the concept of a common liability, is what they're calling it, to addiction, where environmental factors, genetics, and individual life experiences all intertwine to influence substance use patterns. Now, the research, it involved nearly 10,000 adolescents. Okay, that's why they're calling it this is a massive study. There hasn't been a study done on this level for cannabis yet. So really, really, really awesome. This study showed that those who initiated substance use had notable differences in brain regions like the prefrontal cortex, known for its role in decision making and risk assessment. Now, this area of the brain was thinner in those who started using substances, which correlates with more impulsive and risk-taking behaviors. So, right? As we peel back the layers of stigma and misunderstanding surrounding cannabis and its alleged role as a gateway drug, it becomes very clear that the issue is far more complex. This calls for a nuanced discussion about addiction, neurology, and the need for updated drug education that reflects these realities. Right? It's not about one drug leading to another, but about understanding the deeper neurobiological, psychological, and social factors that contribute to substance use. Right? We need more of these studies to keep coming out. And as we build this mountain of defense, it's going to be almost impossible for people to try and accuse cannabis of being some type of like monster gateway drug that's destroying lives. Now, with that first part being said, and that we're well establishing that cannabis isn't the big bad boogeyman that's causing, substance use disorders and all this other whatnot, let's enjoy us some cannabis, shall we? All right, guys, let's take a look here at this Columbiana. Okay. All right, let's see. All right, so here, let's. Oh yeah, where's my my magnifying glass? Yeah, I am like addicted to that magnifying glass now. I don't want to do nothing without it. Yeah, so here, I'm gonna grab it real quick. Alrighty. So let's go ahead and hook her in. Alright. And go ahead and cut that on. Okay. So let's go ahead and get us a closer look. Bam. Okay. So I had it inside of that clasp, but then it was inside of another jar to better identify it. So this is Columbiana. We have these like small kind of spade-like nugs. Still have a good bounce to it. Still got a good texture. I'm feeling. Very amber. You can see like the difference between like the green and the ambering on this. I'm very curious as to how this is going to look. See, that's got a little more of a crunch on it. Yeah, let's see how it looks up close, y'all. Let's see, bam. Oh, yeah, that's right. It's got to be plugged in on both sides, doesn't it? Oh, snap. There we go. Huh. Yeah. Sorry about the wait, y'all. There we go. All right. Okay, so it looks like the microscope's not wanting to queue up, probably because I'm hooking it up like after the fact. So we're just going to do this the old-fashioned way. Now watch, like by the time we're done doing all this, that's when it'll actually want to work. Okay, so just a couple of technical difficulties today. Although I gotta say, this is almost a record. It's been a while since I've had any technical difficulties. Like I think a whole like 3 weeks. Like, yeah. But no, in all seriousness, here, let's go ahead and take a closer look at this thing. Here, let's. Oh, look at this. It's got some white pistoling on it. So maybe this was harvested a little bit early, or perhaps a little bit of bleaching on it. Maybe. This is very interesting. Lots of amber on it. Okay. This will be interesting. Yeah. Yeah, so the pistoling on this is very light. That's interesting. I think it'll be very, very interesting to see how a cultivar that was potentially harvested early, but then was cured for a while, how that's gonna hit. Like, there's a part of me that even wonders if maybe you know, like there's like some of that weed that maybe you smoked when you were younger that like you smoked on it and it didn't really get you all that high and it gave you a little bit of a headache. I'm wondering, like, if that's what we may experience here. Like I said, I wouldn't fault Seeds of Kismet like on this. Like I said, I've had this for quite some time in not the most ideal of setting. Like, I probably should have reviewed this months and months ago. But I'm just curious about how it smokes, and honestly, like, if this is smooth, that's the only thing that's really going to matter to me at this point. Like, if this smokes smooth, then I'll be like, okay, that's a win for this. So let's go ahead and here, let's break it down. Let's see what it looks like. Like I said, 9 months, like could even be a year. But yeah, let's see how this breaks down. So we'll go ahead and get some of that outer guff off of it. Right, like you see, it's got a good like spring on it. It's not like just totally crumbling, but I can feel like once I start finger grinding this, it's going to. Like, in fact, I'm going to do it in my hand rather than... Oh, wow. This is actually not just disintegrating. This has actually got some substance, like, to it. Like... I didn't notice, like, a ton of a smell. There's a bit of a, like, a spice, some pininess out of it, some, like, cedar, but, like, nothing really major. But now, of course, I'm going to smell it. Wow, there's actually some floral and some pine, like, and this very subtle, very, very, very subtle citrus on it. I am actually dumbstruck right now that there's anything going on with this aroma. Wow, this actually reminds me a little bit of like an Acapulco Gold Cross. Like, I mean, it says Columbiana, so it's probably like a Columbia Gold, you know, or something like that. But yo, let's see how it rocks out. I'm actually like kind of pretty interested. I didn't think this was gonna be booty. Like, if I thought this was gonna be like bad, like with how long it's been like curing or at this point like aging, I probably just wouldn't have like reviewed it. That'd be like just like a dick move like on my part. But I'm sure there's lots of people, like especially breeders, that are like curious, like, man, like, you know, what would my weed be like after like a you know, almost a year or something. So we'll go ahead and pop that back. Like I said, it doesn't have a bad smell to it. Like, the texture on it feels pretty reasonable. So the storage, even though it wasn't ideal, like it definitely could have been worse. So, you know, let's see how it rocks, right? Okay. Yeah. I'm also like curious, what is everyone else toking on tonight? You know, I got this Columbiana. What are y'all toking on? So let's see that in the chat, and also some 420s, guys. So let's get high. Yeah, let's go. Yeah, cheers, you guys. Cheers. not even gonna front. That was pretty exquisite. Like, smooth. Very, very smooth, very dank, very like there's a lot of earth going on there, a whole lot of earth going on. Like there was some like woodsy kind of vibes on it. Oops, sorry. I like that a lot. Very woodsy, very, very earthy. Oh shoot. I caught that on the side camera with you guys. Like wow, that actually like it's smooth. It's very, very smooth, but I didn't expect the level of flavor that it had there. Very earthy, very woodsy. Lots of like there's like elements of pine, like cedar, sandalwood. I mean, I will be smoking the rest of that. Like that. Probably also because like it's been undisturbed this whole time. So like now that it's been disturbed, it's probably going to degrade very rapidly from this point moving forward. So I'm just gonna smoke the rest of that, and we might see how much we can smoke in this stream because I just smoked like that whole nug in one snap. So I could probably do a whole nother nug in a snap. That's one thing is that we probably are looking at some degradation here, some like conversion to CBN or whatever. But like honestly though, like it's pretty good. I'm feeling that. I'm definitely feeling that. Yeah. Almost made me forget about them cookies. Okay. Now, with that rip in lung, moving on to how cannabis interacts with our medical systems, right? Now, I love this. I love this for all. I love this because I, like as many of you know, was a counselor for over 10 years. And at one of the agencies that I was a counselor at, I was given an ultimatum to like either stop using cannabis or to leave because I had self-reported that I used cannabis after fearing that I had failed a drug test, and I knew that it would be better if I had just told on myself rather than waiting for a drug test to come back. Like the drug test wasn't for anything I did. It was actually someone that wasn't even supposed to give me a drug test. Like later on, I found out that the drug test just got thrown out. It was never even ran on me. So it was just me and my own like, ooh. But like I had a boss who was for all intents and purposes addicted to benzodiazepine. And they admitted it. Like they pretty much told these straight up that they cannot like go a single like day past a certain time without having like a benzo, or else they'll have a whole meltdown or whatever. And I was like, wow, my weed use isn't that bad. But they told me that like benzos were legal and cannabis wasn't, so like they were in the right. They didn't care if I was on an addictive substance. The only thing that they cared about is that I was on a legal substance at the time. And coming from what was supposed to be like the CEO of a mental health like agency, I found that disgusting, and I decided that no matter, regardless of whatever like outcome they were offering, like I was done there. So when I have like stuff like research coming out, especially within the realm of depression and anxiety with cannabis, I always light up just a little bit. Now, recent research, including a comprehensive study published in the journal, the JAMA, Network Open, highlights a significant decrease in prescriptions for, you guessed it, benzodiazepines, right? This class of drugs that is used to treat anxiety and is highly addictive, right? These medications, while effective, right, super addictive, and come with a range of potential side effects, from drowsiness to severe neurological impacts, like drooling on yourself, like type stuff. Now, the study analyzed data from states with large like legal, medical, and recreational cannabis, and they found that as access to cannabis increased, the rate at which patients filled prescriptions for benzodiazepines noticeably declined. That's right. Swish 3-point half quart. This suggests that some patients may be turning to cannabis as an alternative treatment option, which they perceive as having fewer side effects and lower risks of dependency. Who'd have thought? Now, however, it's not just about swapping one treatment for another. And the shift also opens up a conversation about patient autonomy and the right to choose one's treatment modality. And that's a big deal because now we're talking about control, y'all. Many patients with conditions like PTSD, for which cannabis is often recommended under state medical laws, report finding relief in ways that traditional medications had not provided. All right? This trend also raises questions about the broader implications for health insurance systems and medical practice. Doctors, policymakers, insurance providers, all of them need to consider these shifts when planning mental health strategies and coverage. All right, let that sit for you for a second. Yeah, yeah, but this landscape, though, I mean, is kind of nuanced, right? The same research also found slight increases in the dispensing of antipsychotics and antidepressants in some areas. Now, this might be suggesting that while cannabis may reduce the need for certain medications, it doesn't eliminate the need for comprehensive mental health care. Like something that I talk about all the time. Not all cultivars like have the same effects. Like we shouldn't just be talking like, and when we talk about a relaxing cultivar versus stimulating cultivar, there's certain cultivars that are right for the certain times of day, and others that like if you do that, like it's going to like have a significant and potentially negative impact on your day. You know. Like smoking Granddaddy Purple or GMO like at 10 in the morning, like versus smoking Derp and Poison at 10 at night. Like just some things just aren't a good idea unless like there's a specific reason why it's being done. Like careful consideration, like is what like goes into this. There's this is indicative of the complexity that we have in mental health treatment, where cannabis, right, might serve as a helpful tool in some cases, but isn't just a one-size-fit-all solution. Like, it's not just going to be like, oh, man, I've got this problem. What will fix it? Weed. Like, okay, but what kind of cannabis? Like, what cultivars, like, are you really need to be looking at? And when you start thinking about why you want it, what it is you're trying to help, then it starts narrowing down much more quickly. The answer isn't just weed. The answer is a cultivar. You follow? Now, as we discuss these findings, it is crucial, right? I feel like for all of us to understand that the integration of cannabis into mainstream medicine requires careful considerations. For both the potential benefits and also the risks that can come along with it. Just as we were just talking about, Derp and Poison at 10 p.m. when you need to go to bed at 11, like, is not probably the smartest move. Neither is drinking coffee after 6 p.m. if you have an early morning the next day. Now, ensuring that patients receive comprehensive information to make informed choices about their treatment options is paramount. That's like that right there is always coming down to education. And as cannabis continues to find this place, starts to forge a place in therapeutic settings, ongoing research and dialogue are going to be absolutely essential to navigate these evolving challenges effectively. Just talk about, don't be afraid to ask questions. In fact, I mean, that's a large part what this podcast is for, is to, bring more education, maybe some entertainment, maybe some hangoutage and seshing, but also, to answer questions. Like, if you guys ever have any questions, I mean, please, it makes it a lot easier on me when you just tell me what you want to know more about, or stuff that you find interesting, or even articles that you would like for me to either cover or to delve into more deeply, or it's even something that you feel need debunking, Now, let's checking in with this Columbiana. Um, I really, really am liking the way it hits. It so far the vibe is subtle. Um, while at the same time, like I definitely feel a haze about me. Like it's very very balanced. I no no I wouldn't say fully balanced because like my back feels a little finicky, which is something that with most relaxing cultivars like I feel like that like would kind of fade. So this is like one of those balance leading to that stimulating side, lower THC. So there's probably some like more CBN going on there than I'd like to admit. But I gotta say though, like I ain't mad about how it smokes. So I'm definitely, you know what? I'd say F it. We're gonna pack another bowl of it right now and just keep it trucking. You know. Um, yeah, but that's like one of those things. Especially when we're talking about like cannabis as an anxiolytic, essentially, and how it is decreasing people's like dependence like on like pharma essentially, while also looking at how there's research showing that it's like that the gateway drug like theory is like it's not even a theory, it's not a theory. Like, and that's something that I feel like we get a little confused on is that within the scientific and like the mental health community, when we talk about things being theories, right? That means that there is so much evidence that like supports it that we can say that this is basically like true. Even though at any given time it might be kind of like difficult to pull something out, like, hey, I can like prove this like here in this moment, but through logic, like we can prove it, and then the greater scientific community agrees that this is true. That's like one of those that's the qualifying like conditions, like for something to be a theory. So like the whole like gateway drug thing has never been a theory. It has always been like at best a hypothesis. Um, like that was like poorly formulated and never really tested because now they are testing it and they're finding out that it's bullshit. But I gotta like I say though, like I'm curious about what some of you guys' experiences have been. Like if you've ever had confrontations with people that are like trying to convince you that weed's going to like make you like do worse shit or whatever, and just like I mean like how serious were they about that, and like did they seem in any way educated, or was it just like spew? I mean whatever, I'm asking questions I already know the answers to. Let's just smoke this weed. I gotta say that this nug here that I have in my hand, like I'm gonna grind this in the grinder because just holding it, it has this really nice texture to it that I can tell is going to be more like chunky if I try to finger grind it, and I really want to get like a true snap. And that last hit, like even though like it went well, like it because it had a little bit of that chunk more than I was expecting, because like it took a few more hits than I expected to get through it. So yeah, there we go. Oh yeah, okay. Wow. Wow, it has this like piney, like a very slight light fruit to it. I'm like, this Columbiana, like it's organically grown. I know that much. It was given to me by the Virginia Gangier, Bobby Burris. Um, and yeah. Um, I gotta say, like between like the genetics, the grow style, and I guess me not really opening it, like this thing has really like held itself down. All right, so yeah, let's see some 420s in the chat, y'all. Yo, what is up, Daniel? How you doing, bud? Yeah, I hope everything is groovy in Indiana. All right, yeah. Now, what y'all token on the 9? All right, cheers, you guys. Yeah, this is Columbiana. wow. Yeah. I am definitely glad that I ground that one up. That one, there was a strong dank on it, but then also a very noticeable funk like right after. Um. Oh wow. Yeah. Very nice. Very very nice. Um. Oh yeah. And I have a feeling that that one's gonna hit a little different. Because I was able to do it all pretty much in like the one snap rather than like the three, four, five hits like with the other thing, and that would probably be one of the biggest like things that I like with the difference in the grinds. Yeah, you do a chunky grind, like yeah, you're gonna get like some more flavor, more hits, but like you're not gonna be able to snap it properly or not without pulling through a bunch of like green. My just opinion. So um while that's settling in, we'll get into our final stretch. Let's talk a bit about cannabis and exercise. You know, we've established that it's not a gateway drug, and that it also is being replaced by people as an anxiolytic. Um, yeah, contrary to the couch lock stoner stereotype, many users are reporting that cannabis boosts their motivation and enjoyment of physical activities like running. Man, now we say that cannabis is not a magic bullet or anything like that. It is very, very interesting, though, the things that it can do that seems to fill all these holes that we have in our society. Um, so, right, so activities like running. Um, now, the science presents a very nuanced picture, right? So there's a growing narrative that cannabis not only makes exercise more enjoyable, but might also enhance performance, particularly in endurance sports like long distance running um, and swimming. Uh, this concept stems from from what I've gathered in this article, anecdotal evidence. So we're not quite at the point of like massive study, but still though, we gotta start somewhere. So we find like anecdotal evidence suggesting that cannabis can elevate the pleasure of physical activity and mitigate post-exercise fatigue. Now, first, right? We explore how cannabis interacts with the body's natural reward systems during exercise. Now, the body releases endocannabinoids like anandamide. That's that bliss molecule. And this is also what shares the molecular similarity structure-wise to THC. Um, Now, anandamide helps to moderate pain and is linked to the runner's high that many athletes feel, characterized by a state of euphoria and like increased pain threshold like post exercise. Um, Now, however, it is essential to consider that like the scientific backing behind these claims. Remember, I said anecdotal. Studies suggest that while cannabis may increase the pleasure users get from exercise, it doesn't necessarily increase or improve performance directly. Instead, it's like it might make the activity feel less daunting, and just more enjoyable. You're just like kind of like you don't care, like you're just like yeah, like you don't have a chance to really overthink like how much something's gonna suck, which could indirectly lead to better performance by making regular exercise more appealing. You don't really overthink it. Like maybe even like weed's like part of the ritual. Like yeah, like I exercise and I get to smoke weed. Like that's the deal. Like because some people make a deal with themselves like, oh, like I'm gonna go to the gym and then I'm gonna get like an ice cream afterwards. It's like, no, I'm going to the gym, but I'm definitely gonna smoke weed. Like make sure that I'm right before I go get right. Like what? Now, this nuanced perspective raises important questions about the use of cannabis in relation to exercise, exercise motivation and also recovery. All right. So, for example, while some users report enhanced recovery times due to the anti-inflammatory properties of cannabis, right? Others may experience a decrease in motivation for physical exertion in the long term. Um, maybe, maybe. Although, as we like many of us know, like with cannabis, like over time, like the more we like are integrating it with us, like a lot of those like heavier like effects can kind of dissipate. You know. So this is something that I feel is definitely merits further study. And also one of these things that I feel like, when approached with mindfulness and also with like careful consideration, is something that it's safe enough for us to explore on ourselves. Like we're not gonna be like, hey, let's like smoke weed, like or do like let's get crazy, like like green out high, and then go and try and like do like powerlifting or something. But like like you're like, man, I really don't feel like going to the gym, like but like maybe like hitting a little pen like right before like you start, and then next thing you know, like you done did an hour, and yeah, you might not have worked out as hard, but also at the same time you was about to not go. you know, like so it's one of those things where like what's better, having a stronger workout, or like not going, or like but also you might not go, like versus like having maybe a slightly less intense workout but you're doing it more often. Like now granted, for certain things like running, like yeah, like if you can definitely like overexert with like running and shit, like but I mean, all right, I'm digressing here. Like the point of the matter is that like cannabis like could potentially help. And also I am absolutely right about what I say with this Columbiana, because I got that like rambly high going on. I know I can hear it. I'm like third person in it. No, okay. So, bomb cookies. Gluten free is awesome now. Um, this Colombiana. Um, no. I actually am going to give this a number. And think about. While like we wrap up. Okay. Today's journey through cannabis and its complex relationship with health, addiction, and I mean exercise. We have to remember that the plant holds both promise and potential caution. Especially on the mental health part. The thing with mental health that makes it such a precarious thing to approach and deal with doesn't necessarily come down to the fact that so many of these drugs the big pharma wants to give us have terrible side effects. That's just an added FU to the whole situation. These are mental health substances. These are things that are like trying to regulate like what's going on within our mind, or at least put it within a framework that we can kind of like deal with as we like meet it halfway, developing coping mechanisms. Most of these drugs out there, I tell you that they're prescribed to us. They were not developed for the reason that they're giving it. And what I mean by that is that guanfacine, a very, very popular drug used for treating conduct disorder in children, and for like treating like bipolar disorder in certain instances. It was like developed as a heart medication. And they just found out that it also like had this other weird side effect that like caused people to behave a certain way. I am where they're just kind of stumbling through these chemicals and just seeing what they're doing to us. And the idea of cannabis for us, while it represents a medicine, for them it represents them losing their guinea pigs to experiment on and profit off of. with that being said, like cannabis still needs to be approached with a certain sense of like mindfulness, right? Each study we discussed today as a layer of understanding, challenging us to think critically about how we integrate cannabis into our lives and society. Um, Keep that in mind. I want to thank you guys for joining me on this like explorative episode. Um, you know, I'm gonna check out some of the comments. I know, like I think I heard some things that have been dinging in. How you doing? How you doing, Dustin? Yes, I support it. I support it, Dustin. Yeah, as long as we're being safe about how we're token and we're like, 'cause that's the thing is that like when cannabis like as a homeostasis regulator like brings us into that like sense of balance. I mean, that's why I call BS on the whole thing about people being too high to drive. Like I agree if a person could be like too drunk to drive and cannabis contributed to them being too drunk because cannabis caused their CYP 450 toxin enzyme system to slow down to the point where it wasn't able to remove the alcohol enough. But like if a person is just on cannabis, like that whole thing about operating like heavy machinery, blah blah blah, there's no situation where being drunk is going to be like of like a benefit versus actually never mind, I'm not going to get too much into it because I just thought about that movie about the pilot that turned that plane upside down to save it, and I remember he was drunk in that. So I just complicated it for myself and probably for all of you too. Roger, you say I get really high before any fight. I mean, yeah, yeah. I could totally see that. I mean, not for you, but in general. I could it needs to help him. Cause I definitely smacks a fat dab before working out. I don't know if it helps me zone out and go harder. I mean, dude, but that's the thing. Yeah, I mean, that's what it comes down and that's the thing with this one study is yes, it's anecdotal. But anecdotal doesn't mean that it's make-believe or BS. It just means that we only have reports coming from people that are saying this is what it did without necessarily having observation tools in place to confirm what it was that they are saying. But you can still make reasonable extrapolations from anecdotal evidence if you ask them enough questions. And if you're willing to then vet those answers to weed out unreliable stuff, you can still get reasonable data. It's just not data that you can you still need to back up to have the greater scientific community support. But it's enough for us to start with something. Roger, you said that, so when you toke before a fight, it helps you relax and then smooth out the adrenaline drop. I never considered cannabis's effect on adrenaline release in the body. That is a very interesting take. That is a very, very interesting take. Hey, what's up, Mary? Yeah, I would have said hey earlier, but I'm like the Gerald Ford of comments. I'm going through reading them one at a time. Yeah, probably the majority of fighters smoke weed. I mean, the anti-inflammatory effects alone, cannabis has more than a dozen different anti-inflammatories. You know how many anti-inflammatories ibuprofen has in it or Alka-Seltzer has in it when you take those? One. Cannabis has over a dozen anti-inflammatories in it. It's ridiculous. And then if you're smoking purple cultivars, the anthocyanins, guess what? That's another anti-inflammatory too. I mean, it's wild. Dustin, what do you say? You said rapid cycle, bipolar, and unmedicated only smoke, and it's the only thing I found that I feel like me, not a zombie, and I'm productive. That's the one thing is when we're I'm always going to be an advocate of having a medical professional working with you when using using substances to like help your mental health, because it's always good to have another person working with you that has the outside perspective that can see if there's ever a perception shift that we don't notice. Because that's the thing, is when we're doing stuff that works with how our brain works, it's hard to know sometimes when things are better or when they're worse, because we oftentimes will follow what feels good. Like, um and cannabis is one of those things where like it's just like this really potent tool that like that if we approach mindfully, it can be such an amazing thing. um and the area that like it can get kind of wonky is that like what might happen if like a cultivar that we really like ends up becoming like difficult to like obtain, which is like also why I encourage everyone like to be growers. Because like Dustin, you're a grower. Like I feel like I've seen like I feel like I've seen some of your shit. Right? You grow, right? All right, maybe I'm thinking of I think of someone else. Um, but yes, I am. I feel like, am I digressing again? I don't know. I feel like I'm on topic. I'm like, it might be. Uh, there's a lot to navigate. Like I am a supporter. I am a supporter of certain aspects of the mental health space, like to bridge with cannabis, but not others. Um, yeah, that like I'm just this Columbiana got me. You ever heard of the airport terminal effect? Like like when you see folks like in a different context, like you sometimes have like a blanking of memory like about them or whatever, or about the interaction. They said it comes from like when you see someone that you know in an airport terminal and you're just like, oh my gosh, I know that person. Why is my brain like not like telling me who it is right now? And then when you see them later in the context you know them, you're just like, what the heck was wrong with me? Like I know you like really well. Like why did that like yeah, the airport terminal effect. And that I've noticed happens with me in the internet. And it like especially when I get high. Like um and also that like there was a quite a few people at Rob's that I had met that was like one of the first times I had like met in person. Yeah, like it was you, and then also was it Room to Grow, or was it, man, I like this Columbiana. Yeah, it's got a good hit to it. I definitely all right. You know, we're gonna do one. We'll do one more bowl. Um, I told you guys I would smoke all this shit. Yeah, like, cause it's like it's hitting like okay. When I said at the beginning of this, you know how like sometimes you get that weed that like won't really get you all that high, but then will kind of give you a headache. Like, but then you'll have like sometimes that weed that like you smoke it and it doesn't necessarily get you super high off of the amount that you would expect it to. But then when you smoke more of it, like you got higher, and that's like I'm feeling that like I feel like if I smoke another bowl of this, I'm pretty sure I would get higher off of this. So I'm like, I'm curious. I'm curious. Yeah, growing places. Um, yeah. Like, so I'm like, I'm working on that. I feel like eventually we're gonna get to like, and also I think that, like, well, like Dustin, you have your picture, for your profile picture. But there's also a lot of folks, which including growing places, that they don't have like their picture on their profile, and it's like it's just that moment that reminds us that it reminds me at least that like I'm like as much as we are like all of us like have gods within us, Anunnaki, blah blah blah, that we're still primates, and like primates, all primates, like as social creatures as we are, have a like a limit to like the number of people that we can hold on at any one time. Like and like yeah, I'm like just like struggling to like try and be like man. Like this is why I like nootropics, because I feel like there's like a way. There's got to be a way that we can expand, like knowing like a lot about like more people. like so that we can have like better social structures, because that's another big part. Like, you ever consider that like most of the problems we have in the world is because our minds have a limited capacity for the number of people that we can know well at any one point in time. Now, this is something that I studied in college. Absolutely fascinated by it, because different species of primate have different numbers of like troop size that they can remember. Um, and like humans is one of the largest. Like, we can our number is something like in the range of like 3 to 400 or something like that. Um, but I how many problems we have because like okay, I said 3 to 400. How many friends are in y'all friends list? Like, I got like 1,500 people. It's like 1,600 people, and a lot of these people weren't just people that I was just like. There was a point in time early on when I was adding people a little more indiscriminately, but it was more just like, my name's Ennis. Oh, your name's Ennis too? I've never met someone named Ennis. That's crazy. And then we friended each other. Like, there was like a few of those, but I got over that in like 2000 like 7. Like, I didn't have that many friends back then. Like, these are all people that I met, like, thought was cool. Like, we got on with each other, but we maybe came from different circles. Like, I'm mixed. Like, I have so many overlapping circles, like, but like we come from, so everyone I meet's from like a sort of a different circle. But like, I meet all these people, like they're all cool, like we're friends, like this and that. But then eventually, right, I will slowly forget like a lot of these people. I'll remember your face, like, be like, oh yeah, I know that person. But like, what do you know about them? What do you remember about them? Like, you know that you met them, but like, what did you like about them? Like, whatever. Like, if we could remember, like, if we could remember twice as many people, like, right, the number, like, and like, it could be wrong, but I think it's like 3 to 400. Let's say instead it was like 6 to 800 people. We could like very easily remember. Just like, you could just double the number of people that you know right now, like that you know really well. And not to say that, oh, you can't have like, like that, like, oh my, I have that circle of 5 friends that like that I fuck with. Not saying that, but just that like you double the number of people that you have an easy time remembering. No problem. Like the last, because basically what we're talking about is like you remember the last 3 to 400 people that you met, and then from that point, like going further back is like the people that you met repeatedly and like had more interactions with and more other stuff, but like not necessarily every single person you saw walking down the street, but like people that you interacted with, someone that told you their name, like someone that that you like hung out with for like more than a short period of time, and you were like, man, I would like chill with this person again. Or maybe it was like, I don't like that person, I would avoid them if I saw them again. Like, either way though, like, I wonder like how different society would be with something like that. Now, with that said, this is ground, and we're gonna pack it up, and we're gonna light it up, showing our love for the green goddess. That brings us maybe not infinite benefits, but so many benefits, and with none of the horrible side effects that we see across like pharma. No. Yeah. Cheers, you guys. Wow. Wow. Guys, thank you. Thank you so much for joining me today. Um, nice. Yeah. Oh, really? Yes, it doesn't. You saw a lot of your Facebook people you don't know, huh? Yeah. Well, I mean, maybe that's like maybe that's something that like we need to do more of, like um curating our Facebooks and like going through and being like, do I know you? How do I know you? Like, and not like no, I'm like cutting people out, but more just like trying to reconnect with like our own life, our own like timelines, like our lifelines or whatever. I don't know. But no, I just, yeah, very awesome. Thank you guys for sticking with me today. Hope you enjoyed this episode, this exploration of the different like health and wellness aspects, and also, you know, debunking myths. And I also love debunking this one, or at least like paying tribute to his debunking. But yeah, so stay curious, you guys. Like, stay informed, and always stay high. Take care of yourselves. Mind, body, spirit, all that stuff. Like, remember, make time for yourselves every day. Show yourselves love. Like, I mean, straight up, like, when you're by yourself, no one else is around. Like, tell you, go ahead, just say it out loud. Like, I love you. Like especially if after you did something that like was like kind of cool or like impressed yourself or like was like something like good you did, even if it's small, just be like, yeah, that was awesome. Yeah, I love you. Like it did feel good. Like it's like feels just like, yeah, give you the warm tingles. Because at the end of the day, like self talk is just like someone else talking to us. Until next time. Keep cultivating your knowledge and nurturing that spirit, guys. Now, yeah, peace. Wait a minute. Was I? Hey, hold up. Was I muted? Did I mute myself again? Did y'all like did I mute myself? Bro, I hope I didn't. I'll go look back on it and see for myself.